R Squared in Russian by Larry Hussey, a Drug Force fiction story. Drug Force is a decentralized fiction series created by Larry Hussey. Anyone can write it, anyone can publish it. Creator royalties go to Larry Hussey. That's the only way it's centralized. Now, turn the lights and enter a world decades in the future. Commander Next, the Joint Chiefs are on the line, the American lieutenant said. Drug Force Commander Yo Next could barely see through the rain except for the bright neon lights of Ginza, Japan at night. Well then, proceed with the raid on the fentanyl den tonight on your own. I'll probably be gone. It must be a mistake. There is no way we are in danger from MiG fighter jets from the south, the Admiral of the U.S. Navy of the West Coast answered. However, this is so much like Pearl Harbor that I need to send out a request for possible explanations. The newspaper headline read, Russia reclaims Afghanistan. Drug Force Intelligence Officer Dean Redletter paused, then sat back in his chair in order to finish his curry. Drug Force Commander Bourne Forth looked up at the jumbo screen to join the Joint Chiefs online meeting. He noticed Yo joining the meeting by camera. If Russia invades Pakistan, conventional warfare has been approved by the president, the moderator said. Also, MiG fighter jets appear to have scrambled from Baja California, Mexico, toward the U.S. border. So, we are sending all available military forces to India, fully armed. Commander Forth, are you and your Drug Force F-35 jets ready for combat right now? Affirmative. We can get up to 300 in the air as soon as orders are sent, Bourne said. You will need Drug Force Navy support then, because there are about 1,200 MiGs flying toward San Diego, one of the Joint Chiefs said. I understand. We will begin seeking missile targets immediately. Yo sipped his coffee out of a can and set it down. He turned off his computer. He said, send all aircraft and ships with anti-aircraft capability to Hawaii immediately, and any of those types of resources already in Hawaii are ordered to head for San Diego at full speed. I will be in my office on the flagship. All MiG pilots, remember your training even though it was short, said Pair of Shoots as she straightened the air mask on her face. I am riding in the lead plane, so don't squawk about me not being with you. Our Russian computer hacks at work ideally. All Air Force Combat Command has no idea we were in the Baja, and the entire U.S. military is headed to protect Pakistan. If it wasn't for the meddling drug force, we would already be welcomed at the White House. Dean left his hotel as soon as he knew his favorite mango salesman would be set up for work. Advaith had his protective gloves on while he was sharpening his paring knife. There was a nice pyramid of mangoes beside him. How are you, my friend, Advaith? Dean said. Taking comfort in daily routine, of course, Advaith said. If those Russians ever cross the Indian border, they will wish they did not consume so much vodka and meat all of their lives, I tell you. Dean liked this fighting spirit. You don't think they know yoga and vegetarianism? Everyone knew that was a joke, but Advaith acted as if it were not. They certainly do not know that, and they especially do not know mangoes. Indian mangoes are so good we do not even export them. Maybe that is what they are coming for. People have fought for less, I imagine. Have you heard anything about a special trick they have of hiding jet planes from any sort of detection? Oh, people talk about such things, but they don't know. If I were concerned about that, though, I would search for U2 Spy Plane Simulator or Annihilator, or Alligator, I don't know. Don't you have alligators in your country, Dean? Yes, we do, but I don't know any of them personally. Is that bag of sliced mango ready? He grabbed the bag and paid a tourist tip for it. He lowered the brim of his private eye hat and set right back to his hotel. Are the anti-aircraft ships searching for viable targets yet? Bourne asked. I need to know if I should command one of the squadrons from the air. He sat back in his seat and breathed deeply. He was in his normal office with the door open, but he was speaking to his computer microphone. I don't think your flag airship will be needed, sir. Fighters are loading weapons now, the subordinate answered. Obviously, air-to-air weapons are all we will need. Yes, I can confirm that is the tactical configuration we are loading. Drug Force Navy CRAM ship-to-air missiles are almost ready for firing as soon as we locate targets on the Baja coast. Connect me to the loudspeaker. Bourne cleared his throat and jotted down some words. Attention, this is Commander Fourth. The Russians are looking for another resource to have abundant ownership of since oil is running out. They want the whole world to be addicted to cannabis and to buy it from Russian tea rooms or whatever. We have enough firepower to stop them, of course, and we should be back in time for coffee in the morning. End message. Frank adjusted his helicopter pilot's seat. He put on his aviator sunglasses and then stopped squinting. The Pacific Ocean glared up at him and he glided over waves with his giant helicopter. The hum of the blades through his safety headphones kept him alert. His two-seater slowed down as he pulled back the power. The blinking light signal he was looking for finally showed itself dead ahead, floating in the deep blue sea. He slowed to a stop high above the life raft. He made one last check to make sure it was the right raft. Yep, there is the giant parasol, he mumbled. What, Frank? Singing in the Rain answered. Nothing. How are you? You want me to load the pontoons? Yes, of course, Frank. I didn't design them just to look pretty. Everything has to be like an umbrella, practical and nice to look at. You got it. The helicopter landed and then bobbed with every lap of water. Singing in the Rain motored the life raft over to the right side, and she pressed a button on her personal umbrella, and a step appeared. The door swung open, and she was able to straighten her raincoat as she boarded the aircraft. What's next, ma'am? Back to our island. We've done our part. Hawaiian Islands it is. Hawaiian Islands. The helicopter pivoted around to reverse direction and take off. Bourne paced behind his desk and fielded communiques from his commanders. We have a top secret message from Officer Red Letter. It says he found an unapproved app that was being used as a hacker blog. The trick they used to evade detection is probably in that code. So, he sent the code to military intelligence and sent an email back to the creator. It said, "Nice try, wrong side." Wrong side? Is he in this too? Bourne blurted back. I'll send a reply asking for evidence of wrong side's involvement, the assistant said. Okay, was there another top secret one? Go ahead with it. Right. A CRM ship of ours is now dead in the water. Somehow umbrellas were forced into the missile silos and exhaust ports. So, Singing in the Rain is helping too. And not just with the planning, which is her specialty, but also carrying out the operation, Bourne thought out loud. U.S. Drug Force Navy destroyer-class ships lined up along the Baja California-Mexico shoreline. The order to fire was given. Hundreds of missiles from CRAM silos rocketed into the air. White vapor filled the skyline. Jet fumes filled the air. The shushing sound of missiles seemed to disappear. Then the first explosion hit. The damaged MiG fighters began whining their way down to the sand below. Then a smattering of missiles accomplished their missions. Fighter jets seemed to be seeing who could hit the ground first. Continue the barrage until we down 400 of them and then wait for orders, Yo next commanded from a remote location ship. The sound of the jets arrived in a minute. The roar of the engines shook plants and puddles. More missiles rocketed up to the sky to meet the second wave of MiGs. This wave had more trouble navigating the airstreams than the first wave. Some of the missiles could not hit their targets just because of the pilots could not fly straight. Sand kicked up higher and higher as the jets flew by more and more frequently. An admiral reported 400 down to Commander Next. Order the F-35s to fire, Next said. Since the drug force jets were so far away, their rockets fired silently, like raindrops. as CRAM targets whomped on the ground like a herd of elephants. Fighter jet targets veered away to avoid the silent threats. Hundreds of air-to-air missiles slammed against their prey. The only objects flying upward were the ejector seats and the parachutes of the survivors. It was time for aerial combat. It was time for dogfighting. The MiGs at the front of their formation fired missiles at the drug force. They were an impressive show, but the old Russian technology just rattled around at best. At worst, it fell to the ground. The F-35s circled back and around to make sure no enemy planes would get even close to the U.S. border. Pair of chutes squirmed in her co-pilot seat and growled. She ordered into her mask all remaining MiGs to retreat and fight another day. The MiGs flew up and twisted around, and some even seemed to be surfing the famous Baja tubular waves. Commander next ordered everyone to carefully return home. The end.